welcome back to the channel. In today's episode I'm going to give 3 horses to follow for the flat season. I did the same for the jumps quite a while ago now, and the horses were LA Belle, who she's turned out to be quite a decent novice hurdler, and she's running at Aintree in a week's time, so it's worth keeping an eye on her. She's done quite well, and my best one of the 3 was definitely Guard Your Dreams. I put him up when he was just rated 140, just thought he might have a handicap or 2 in him after a few eye-catching runs last season. Well, he managed to win a handicap on debut, then he went on to win the Unibet International Hurdler Grade 2 at Cheltenham, and he's also been placed in a few more graded contests, so I'm very happy with that one. And if I can put a horse up similar to Guard Your Dreams this time round, I'll be very happy. As I said, 3 horses being put up, and the first one might be playing it a little bit safe, but it's got to be Native Trial for Charlie Appleby. This horse is now a 3-year-old. It'll be heading towards the 2,000 guineas, you'd imagine, and his top of the market for that is 11 to 4 to go and win that race, and I think he's going to take the world of beating in that race. He had 4 runs as a 2-year-old, won all 4 of them, and he's got an official rating of 122, which for a 2-year-old is pretty impressive. He's already got 2 Group 1s to his name, and he's defeated Point Lonsdale, who the Aidan O'Brien camp thought was a very, very good horse. Well, Native Child beat this horse by 3.5 lengths in its own backyard pretty easily. Then after that it went on to win the Dewhurst. All of his races have been over 7 furlongs, and it might be question marks or similarities between him and Pinatubo. You'll remember him from a few years ago. They was both very good 2-year-olds. Will they carry it forward into 3-year-olds? Pinatubo arguably didn't live up to his potential as a 3-year-old, but I think Native Trial is one that might just go on and improve again. He's got a little bit more scope for improvement than Pinatubo, who was an absolute monster as a 2-year-old. Native Trial is quite similar, but I think he might just go on and win the 2,000 guineas. Whether he would be a Derby horse in time, the mile and a half at Epsom, I'm not sure if that would particularly suit him, but one step at a time, I think, with this horse. And in the 2,000 guineas, I should say, he's definitely the one to beat, and I think he's definitely one to follow throughout the season. He'll be winning a few Group 1s for sure on the flat. Now, my second horse is Bedford Flyer. He's going to be probably a lot less known than Native Trial, but he's a 4-year-old, got an official rating of 100, and I think this is the type of horse that might just have a big handicap in him, or maybe even a listed contest by the end of the season. As I said, he's been rated 100, but he's shown a lot of progression in his career. His first win was in a nursery when he was a 2-year-old, and that was off a mark of 69, so he's improved 2 stone, well, more than 2 stone, 31 pounds since that day, and he's got a very good action about him, especially on good ground. I remember him last season tearing up the Knaves Mire at York, almost setting the place on fire. He's a very quick horse. The bare 5 furlongs, I think, definitely suits this horse, and he's actually got an entry tomorrow by the time you're watching this at Lingfield. He started off at Lingfield last year, ran a very creditable race, and I think he'll do the same this time. I don't think Connections will have him 100% ready to roll, because I think there's bigger prizes down the line for this horse than a handicap at Lingfield. But as I said, he's got a rating of 100 at the minute, and his form last season was pretty strong. He was second, won at York, and then he was second in a very competitive handicap at Ascot, just chinned on the line, and then his final run was in the Nunthorpe, which I think that just came a little bit too soon for him. I think with the winter, if he's wintered well, if he's improved physically, then I think as a 4-year-old he might just be a little bit more of a complete sprinter, and I think for the Les yard, he's definitely one to keep an eye on. It's a local yard for me, and it's nice to see, because they don't have many horses at all, but they've got some very good horses, and I think this could be the flag bearer this season in Bedford Flyer, and hopefully he might even get off to a winning start for this season on Saturday at Lingfield. Now, the final horse is one called Valley Forge for the Andrew Balding team. Now, this horse won the Melrose off a mark of 83, but he travelled so well that day. He won by 2 lengths in the end, but you could probably mark up the finish of that race, because the second has also been a pretty progressive horse, and he just travelled so well, quickened, and saw the 1 mile 6 furlong out trip very well. He won that off 83, and then he went up to a mark of 80, and then he was beating a muddling race at Haydock where Joe Fanning won it from the front. That was a very good ride, and I think he didn't get a full proper gallop there like he wants to. I think this horse wants a strong gallop over a mile and a 6 furlongs. He travels very well, and that day they're probably just a bit of a muddling pace which never really suited the horse. And then his final run was at Ascot in a listed contest. He tailed off that day. There was obviously a problem with him that day, and he's been gelded since, I should say. And I think that might just be the making of this horse. Obviously, connections think there's something wrong. He's been off the track a long time, but I think if he comes back, I think he's going to be one to keep an eye on this season. He's a short enough price for the E-Ball already, and I think that's a race that could perhaps suit him. As I said, the strong gallop, a galloping track, big field, I think that's something that'd really suit him. And from a rating in the 90s, I think he's definitely one open to quite a bit of improvement. And again, like Bedford Flyer, he could have a big handicap in him, or I think he could easily develop into listed quality, maybe even a Group 3. I think this horse, they've taken the time with him, they've progressed him slowly, but in time I think this is going to be a pretty good horse in the staying division. So they're my 3 horses to follow: Native Trail, Bedford Flyer and Valley Forge. And of course, I want to hear your opinions. So if you could give me 3 horses to follow in the comments down below, I'd be very interested to see if you agree with me, or, well, there's lots of horses in training, so I'd love to hear your opinions down below. And we are closing in on 150 subscribers, so if you are new around here, would be very appreciative if you could subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.